or will fight you to the end. Okay? All right. So what will happen is that now that Xerxes is gone, now that the navy is scattered, Mardonius is kind of screwed, okay? And so what happened is the Spartans face off against Mardonius in the Battle of Plataea, and they will destroy Mardonius. Mardonius is killed. And so one of the soldiers says to the king of the Spartans, Pausanias, your uncle Leonidas was killed by the Persians, and they put his head on a spike. Why don't you return the favor and put the head of Mardonius on a pike and show it to the world and show how great the Greeks are? And this is Pausanias' response to this, okay? Can you read?
Pausanias answered, I admired your good intentions and your foresight, but you have failed to form a right judgment, for having highly extolled me, my country, and my achievement. You have thrown all down against me to nothing by advising me to insult a dead body, and saying that if I do so I shall increase my fame, which is more fit for barbarians to do than Greeks, and which we abhor even in them. I cannot, therefore, in this matter please the Aeginetae, nor those to whom such things should be pleasing. It is sufficient for me to please the Spartans by doing and speaking what is right. As for Leonidas, whose death you exhort me to avenge, I affirm that he has been amply avenged. Both he and all the others who fell at Thermopylae have been avenged by the countlessness of these men. However, do not you hereafter come to me with such a proposal, nor give such advice, and be thankful that you escaped unpunished.
Okay, so what he's saying is that we won because the gods favor us. Why do the gods favor us? Because we are virtuous. Because we are loyal to the gods. We're loyal to ourselves. We are not the barbarians. We are not the Persians. We are the Spartans. Okay? So you can see at this time in history how for the Greeks what matters is their virtue, their faith, and their loyalty, okay? But guess what? This all changes when they become an empire, okay? So I want you guys to remember this. And what we're going to do now is we're going to compare and contrast this what happens when they become an empire, okay? Okay. All right. So the Persians are scattered, and they're never going to come back. And now it's the Athenian Empire. And so what the Athenians propose is, you know what? It's always possible that the Persians will want to return. So we need to set up an alliance to defend ourselves against the Persians. Okay, and they call it the Delian League. Why? Because they agree that they will pool the resources together as a defense fund against the Persians. So think of like NATO, okay? The North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And they agree that they will put all their gold in a place called Delos, okay? An island in Delos, somewhere. Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. It's a small island in Delos, right here, okay? You guys see it? And so no one's allowed to touch this. So what happens is that the Athenians are like, you know what? It's probably safer with us. So the Athenians basically steal all this gold. And now the Delian League is no longer a alliance, but a empire, the Athenian Empire, where everyone now has to pay tribute to Athens. Okay? So all that's happened is, before these Greek city-states had to pay tribute to the Persians, and now they have to pay tribute to the Athenians. Okay? It's probably a worse deal for everyone. And what do the Athenians do with all this gold? They spend it on this, okay? It's called the Parthenon. It's still there in Athens if you want to go visit it. It's lost its former glory, okay? But this is what the Parthenon looked like during the age of Pericles, during the age of the Athenian Empire, okay? This is a statue of Athena. It's pure gold. They didn't have to do this, but they were like, you know what? We're going to enjoy our empire. And they built the Athenian statue, okay? And so at this time in history, Athens is beautiful, it's wealthy. And what that does is it makes you lazy, arrogant, and stupid, okay? All right, so this is Thucydides, and he wrote the Peloponnesian War. and he discusses why Athens went to war with Sparta. Okay, and what he says is, well, it's because Sparta is the hegemon and Athens is the rising power, and therefore they were bound to clash. Okay, that's not what happened. Athens was the hegemon, Athens was the empire, and its allies were rebelling against it, and it dragged Sparta into the war. Okay, that's what really happened. All right, so this is what the war looks like. The Athenians have their empire, the Spartans have their alliances, and what's going to happen is the allies are going to try to break out of the Athenian empire. Okay, and they're going to drag Sparta into the war. Sparta does not want to fight Athens, but Athens forces Sparta to fight it because Athens is very expansionist. Okay, so you can see how this red is now encroaching on the Peloponnese, which is historically Spartan territory, right? Now, the problem is that, remember, Sparta has a weakness, the Helots. If the Athenians ever choose to land forces on its coast, the Helots would all rise up together and overwhelm the Spartans. Okay? So Sparta must protect its periphery from Athenian encroachment. So this is what leads to the war. Okay? This doesn't make sense. Okay? Sparta does not want this war. The Athenians are extremely aggressive. They're expanding everywhere. And Sparta is forced into this war. And the allies use this opportunity in order to try to break out of the Athenian empire. And so most of the Peloponnesian War is actually between Athens and its former colonies and allies, okay? Because Athens is a mafia state. Now, what's important for us to understand is that because of the nature of this war, the way they fought the war was strange, okay? So Sparta is not trying to destroy Athens, and Athens is not trying to destroy Sparta. It's really easy for Athens to destroy Sparta, right? All Athens has to do is land forces in Sparta and let the Helots rise up. But Athens doesn't want to do that because it would destroy the equilibrium, okay? You don't know what would happen if the Helots were to take control of Sparta. They might come after you, Athens, okay? So Athens is status quo power, therefore it wants to maintain the equilibrium. Now, let me ask you this question. How could Sparta defeat Athens? Very easily, right? They could just free the Helots, right? Now their army rises 10 times. They can now overwhelm Athens. But Sparta doesn't want to do that because it would destroy their equilibrium, okay? It would destroy their social order. It would destroy their oligarchy. It would create a democracy, basically. And they don't want that, okay? So they're trying to fight the war in a way that allows them to maintain the equilibrium. And that's why the war is fought in a very strange way, okay? They're not trying to destroy each other. They're trying to maintain a balance of power. What will happen is that Sparta will eventually defeat Athens. But it's just not to destroy Athens, because if you destroy Athens, then Thebes and other powers could arise, which could challenge Sparta, okay? All right? All right. So the leader of Athens at this time is Pericles. And Pericles is famous for the funeral oration, which is considered like the most famous speech in Western civilization. And I'm sorry, but in university, they will teach you that the funeral oration is a speech about democracy. It's not a speech about democracy if you actually read it. It's a speech about empire, okay? For whatever reason, the British and Americans believe that Athens was the greatest democracy in the world, and they can do no wrong. No. It's an empire, and it's concerned only with maintaining its empire, okay? So we're going to read from the funeral oration. And the thing to remember about funeral oration is that Athens is not at war. Lots of Athenians are getting killed in this war. And the custom is for there to be a massive state funeral to celebrate the war dead, and to give a speech to commemorate the war dead, okay? So we can't read all the speech, but I want to show you a very important paragraph in the speech, okay? All right.
Comfort, therefore, not condolence,
Condolence.
Okay, is what I have to offer to the parents of the dead who may be here. Numberless are the chances to which, as they know, the life of man is subject. But fortunate indeed are they who draw for their lot of death, so glorious that which has caused your mourning. Yet who you Yet you who are still of an age to beget children must bear up in the hope of having others in their stead. Not only will they help you to forget those whom you have lost, but will be to the state at once a reinforcement and a security.
Okay, so he's talking to these parents whose sons are now dead, okay? And remember, like during the Persian Wars, the Athenians were like, we're virtuous people. We believe in liberty. We believe in our gods. We believe in each other, and that's why we'll win this war, okay? Now what Pericles is saying to these parents is, you know what, your sons were useless anyway, but now they died for empire, which is good, right? Now you can be proud of your sons who are worthless, but now that they died for empire, we can celebrate them. So what should you guys do? You should have more children so that you can protect the empire, okay? All right? That's what he's saying. He's also saying to the Athenians, listen, I know these men are dead and they have children, but don't worry, because what we're going to do is we will put these children into an orphanage and raise them to be soldiers so that they can go and fight for the empire and die like their fathers, okay? This is now empire, guys. All right, so this is the plague of Athens. So again, what Pericles should be doing is embarking on a massive war of expansion against Sparta, and Sparta would lose very quickly. Pericles doesn't do that because he doesn't want to fight the Spartans. If he defeats the Spartans, it creates an imbalance of power in the Greek mainland, okay? So what he does is he forces everyone to seek shelter within Athens, because remember, Sparta is a land power. He doesn't want to face Sparta on land. So he forces everyone to go into Athens and hide behind the city walls. Guess what happens if you put a lot of people in one place? You get the plague, guys. Okay? This kills a third of the Athenian population, including Pericles and his two sons. All right. So can you read this? So what's happening is that you have these different islands who are either rebelling against the Athenians or who say to the Athenians, we don't want to be part of this stupid war, okay? And the Athenians go to them and says, too bad, guys. Okay, keep on going.
Athenians, for ourselves we shall not trouble you with
Specious
pretenses, either of how we have a right to our empire because we overthrew the Medes, or are now attacking you because of wrong that you have done us, and make a long speech which would not be believed, and in return we hope that you, instead of thinking to influence us by saying that you did not join the
Macedonians. These are the Spartans, okay?
Macedonians, although they're colonists, or that you have done us no wrong, will aim at what is feasible, holding in view the real sentiments of us both. Since you know as well as we do that right, as the world goes, is only in question between equals in power, while the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. Okay, so, the Persians, when they went to the Athenians, basically said, we are a vast empire, you can't defeat us, and let's just be friends. And now that the Athenians have defeated the Persians, now they're the empire, basically what they say to everyone else is, we're not going to bother trying to be your friends. We're not going to bother trying to convince you that we're right and you're wrong. We're just stronger than you, so shut up and obey, okay? This is the entire point of the Athenians. The Athenians are even worse than the Persians. Okay, remember the Athenians fought the Persians for liberty. Once they become an empire and others want liberty, too bad, because the Athenians are stronger. Might makes right, okay? All right, so this war will drag on, and because as an empire you become lazy, stupid, and arrogant, the Athenians will do stupid things, like go invade a people that are even not part of this war, okay? Sicily. So remember, the Athenians, it's a mafia state. What they do is they collect tribute from the allies. But as this war is dragging on, they need more and more money, so they decide to go conquer more and more people. So they decide, let's go conquer Sicily, because it's very wealthy. They send a massive expedition against Sicily, they lose, and they drag Syracuse, which has a navy, into the war. Now, Sparta
Syracuse combine against the Athenians, and the Persians come in as well, okay? And the allies turn against Athens. And what they will do is they will blockade Athens from Thrace, which is where Athens gets most of its wheat, okay? So now Athens is going to starve, so Athens surrenders, and this ends the Peloponnesian War. And this